Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching the Wire Wrap. I'm Sravasti Dasgupta, and joining us today is Seema Chishti. She's editor at The Wire, and Shobna Nair. She's deputy editor at The Hindu. So first off, let's get started with the news that's come in from Uttar Pradesh today, where Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has, in a sense, doubled down on the order that was given out by district authorities in Muzaffarnagar and Saharanpur, where they said that all restaurants, food establishments will have to put nameplates along the route where the Kanwar Yatra will travel. Now, this morning, Friday morning, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has said that this order will be extended across Uttar Pradesh, and similar orders have also been passed in neighboring Uttarakhand. So, Seema, your first thoughts on this? Opposition parties have of course said that this is a move in a sense to normalize economic boycott of Muslims and practicing untouchability by putting the names of the persons who are owning these establishments. How do you see this whole order?
So two things come to mind. One is, of course, this business of untouchability, because full names in India is not just about Muslims, it could be a caste thing as well. So people who ask you what your full name is. So this is very loaded. It's completely and utterly unconstitutional. But what comes to mind is that maybe the BJP thought that this is the one thing that could unite their several flanks which seem to be in complete disarray after the 2024 election results, where the BJP did very badly and this card didn't work. So it's a way of doing that. But the second thing I think which is very interesting here is the opposition response, because so far they've just been very muted. They say, you know, kisi aur ke prati, or even the mohabbat ki dukaan is a generic. So not very often do you name Muslims or Dalits. This time people have come out and said it as it is. They've named it. The Congress party has done so. The TMC has done so. Others have made that point. In fact, even KC Tyagi of the JDU and Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi, formerly, you know, a minister and a long-term BJP member, has said that. So both things about how the ground has shifted and how the BJP is making an effort to somehow do this, hoping that it will be the something around which all the flanks unite.
We'll just get into how the BJP's UP unit seems to be unraveling, which Seema just mentioned a little while ago. But I also want to pick up on what she just said about the fact that Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi, former Minority Affairs Minister in the previous Modi government, he has criticized this move, Shobna. So Naqvi, of course, when he was Minority Affairs Minister, we did not see any open criticism when things were developing, when a lot of anti-Muslim incidents were happening. He did not say anything. But now he's still in the BJP, very much so, but he's not a minister anymore. There's an open criticism coming in from Naqvi, which is new in a sense. Yeah. How do you see this?
Not just Naqvi. We haven't heard any BJP Muslim face speaking out in the last 10 years. What about Shahnawaz Hussain? None of us know. I mean, we've not seen him hitting the headlines in a while. But I'll introduce a bit of a nuance here. Naqvi's statement was made yesterday when this issue was largely limited to a bureaucratic decision. We need to wait and watch whether Naqvi repeats it today, considering Yogi Adityanath has come out and put his stamp on the decision. What makes it very interesting here, I mean, JDU statement here is more interesting for me, because yesterday, KC Tyagi came out and said he blamed a bureaucratic decision. One could have thought that, you know, it's a very narrow margin for an ally to operate in, where you blame a particular decision, but you blame the bureaucrats for taking the decision. And I thought that's where it shall end. But Mr. Tyagi has again reiterated his statement today, where he said that Kanwar Yatras happen across North India, not just Uttar Pradesh. It happens in Bihar, it happens in Rajasthan, Haryana. We don't see similar orders there, and we see all sorts of, I mean, there are no such orders, and therefore there is no requirement. The fact that he repeated holds a greater significance to me.
That's of course interesting also because just in a few days from now the budget will be presented in Parliament, and these two allies of the BJP, the JDU as well as the TDP, they really hold the key and they are looking to make key demands in the budget. But that's for a later moment. We'll get into that. But as Seema was mentioning earlier, I just want to tell our viewers about how things have changed in the Uttar Pradesh unit of the BJP after the Lok Sabha elections. Just a couple of days ago, we saw Deputy Chief Minister Keshav Maurya. He came to Delhi. He met Amit Shah. There was the results in UP have been, which was really considered as the BJP stronghold, that this is a given, that the BJP will be winning UP for sure, if nothing else. But that has really, UP's results have contributed largely to the downsizing of the BJP in parliament. So there is, of course, speculation right now about the future of the Adityanath government in Uttar Pradesh. We don't know for sure what really is happening. We just know that Keshav Prasad Maurya has met Amit Shah, and so, Seema, what really is happening in the BJP with regards to UP, and do you think that we are going to see big changes in Uttar Pradesh?
I can just see big turmoil very clearly. The BJP has always been a bit of a black box, so just, speculation is risky. Also, it's impossible to tell. But that black box itself is cracking. So without my wanting to find out, stuff is coming out. So when you have Keshav Prasad Maurya tweeting openly, Sangathan sabse bada hota hai, the organization is important, not the sarkar. It's very clear that the whole OBC is a big issue. The non-Yadav OBC support for the BJP, which has completely dwindled and crashed in 2024 elections, is a big issue for them. Then given the fact that even the Rajput community, which is also where the CM comes from, is also angry with them. So how to negotiate this thing, which so far the BJP did under the large rubric of Hindutva, keeping everybody in the tent together, but now people actually want more. There are more claims, and there's anger at claims made earlier but promises left unfulfilled. So I think Anupriya Patel coming out writing letters on jobs. She's written something on a toll plaza, so that's really, it's something else that she's trying to say when she writes those letters. And even the Suhail Dev chief, Sanjay Nishad and the Suhail Dev party, I forget his name, Rajbhar saying things, Sanjay Nishad saying something, of course immediately changing his mind and saying, I didn't really mean that, but of course he meant it. He made his point when he said it. And the flurry of meetings, coming in quietly and meeting Mr. Nadda. Also, the central BJP is not insulated from this, because it deeply depends on 80 seats in UP for its central kind of cohesion, for the fact that 3 important places of worship are in UP. So it's also the ideological, if you like, bedrock of their themes. So in a lot of ways, it's the Hindi belt. So in every way, it's so important. It's a center of gravity of their political presence. JP Nadda's term is over. They need a replacement. The RSS has been jumping up and down, saying things, meaning something else, but a bit of look London, see Tokyo happening there. And they've recently again said that some people try and become Devta and they want to become Vishwaroop, and we don't know what happens next. So I think this is deep turmoil, deep trouble in, which I don't think Kavadiya orders will be able to fully paper over. And that may be the problem.
And this is an important point, of course, that Seema saying that all these allies in Uttar Pradesh, Anupriya Patel, Sanjay Nishad interestingly said he launched a scathing attack on the Adityanath government and said bulldozer model has failed. And Anupriya Patel's criticism was on the reservation for jobs for Dalits. Of course, she is an OBC leader herself. So do you see the grip of the Modi-Shah control on the BJP that has kind of remained rock solid for the past 10 years? No one would utter a word from that is just in any way deviating from the party lines. But now allies and leaders within the party are kind of opening up and speaking. So do you think that the Modi-Shah control is kind of losing its grip?
Before I talk about the larger allies beyond the boundaries of Uttar Pradesh, I want to add one more point to Uttar Pradesh. There is 10 assembly seats which are vacant. Bypolls are coming up. Yesterday, Thursday, Yogi Adityanath held a meeting, and what is interesting is both the deputy chief ministers, Brajesh Pathak and Keshav Prasad Maurya, were absent in the meeting. And these 10 seats are very important, because one of these seats is Milkipur. Milkipur falls in Faizabad Lok Sabha constituency.
It's the former seat of Avdesh Prasad. It's the seat that he is vacated.
Yes, and Samajwadi is planning to field Avdesh Prasad's son. So it is going to be a big prestige battle to mitigate the damage that the BJP is facing because of the Faizabad loss. It is deeply essential for all the leaders in BJP to win Milkipur and, of course, win majority of the 10 assembly seats which are coming up for elections. Of course, UP allies from UP have been far more vocal than the 2 major allies, TDP and JDU. I do not see, and I'm kind of sticking my neck out here and saying that at least till the end of this year, I do not see them. I mean, they will be making noises, but a direct rebellion, I do not see that from the JDU and the TDP, and I have my reasons for that. In case of TDP has been out of power for a long time now, and the state is starved for funds. I had a meeting, we had a meeting with Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu a couple of weeks back. He was in town, his first trip to Delhi. And when I asked him the question, if you will be asking for special category status, because that was the issue on which in 2018 TDP had walked out of the NDA, his reply was very surprising. He said the economic situation of the state has gone beyond the necessity of a special category status. So, which is very clear, one can read between the lines that he's in no mood to rock the boat. He wants this government to continue for 5 years. He wants his money to keep coming, and just days after his visit, a petroleum project was approved, which had been lying pending for 10 years, was approved for the state. In case of JDU, of course, Nitish Kumar's health is a matter of concern for those within the JDU and in the larger
Biden-esque situation unfolding there, yes.
Yes, I mean, we have seen him touching people's feet and making all sorts of statements which are very, very uncharacteristic of him. There, however, I see a change in situation when the assembly polls come in November 2025, and whenever that happens, depending on the results, there will be repercussions felt in Delhi. So, as of now, the two major allies who are propping up the government, I don't see them.
So I just want to add a point. I think you're absolutely right. You know, solidifying their states is important because they both kind of, Chandrababu Naidu would want Nara Lokesh to succeed in that and look good. That state is crucial for him. He gets it. And even with JDU, he doesn't want an Orissa to happen to him. He doesn't want a Biju Patnaik type situation, not having picked so he'd like to be careful about how polls go there. But I think the power of allies in a minority BJP government, it has not got the majority. It is way below the 272 mark in itself. It's got just 243. The fact that allies don't go away is what lends instability. If they were to go away, then, you know, it's another deal.
Yeah, I
but the
absolutely
fact
agree.
of that I can leave you, I can't, you know, it's a bit like a toxic relationship that, you know, will I leave you, will I not? That dynamic is what adds amazing instability to a situation, which Mr. Modi has tried to always stamp down, scotch out and say that, you know, there's one leader, one nation, one election. All of those kind of things are out. So even if they don't go away, but just the rumble and the grumble, all of that is enough to ensure, you know, a tumbling kind of situation.
And of course, the parties that are looking to cash in on this is the India bloc, and which has recently secured 10 victories in assembly seats where bypolls was held earlier this week, and out of the 13 seats, 10 were won by the India Alliance. Shobna, how do you see this? A big win for the opposition post the elections and a cause for worry for the BJP, because they've been painting a picture in parliament and outside as if nothing has changed between post the 2024 elections. But the bypolls results once again kind of reinstates what the 2024 mandate looked like.
Politics is all about perception. So clearly, after June 4th, the India bloc seems to be winning the perception battle. They may not have the numbers, and within 1.5 months again, the voters have reiterated the message to the BJP, and Congress, Pawan Khera addressed a press conference on that day when the results came, and his his statement was that the BJP was behaving as if it's business as usual. But the voters again have given a reminder that, I'm sorry, that's not the case. You please behave yourself. And what is important in this bypoll is, although it doesn't have any larger significance other than the perception of it, but there are minor messages here and there. For example, in Himachal Pradesh, 3 independent candidates who had switched to BJP, 2 of them lost. Similarly, in Uttarakhand, in Badrinath seat, one of the Congress MLAs who had switched to BJP fought on BJP ticket this time, lost to Congress, and there has been a significant fall in the BJP vote share consistently there has been a significant because see, so far we all believed and media is equally to be blamed because we believed in invincibility of the BJP. We believe that no matter what they do, no matter however absurd it may look, bringing in people who till yesterday were abusing them, but bringing them on, you will still win. But that itself is that whole image is breaking.
And that's really the point that the BJP...
Just add a thing, sorry for interrupting you, Sravasti. What she said is very important, that invincibility at several levels. One is this whole defectors coming and winning. Number two, happening in the Hindi belt. This is Himachal Pradesh's rock solid Hindi belt, as is Uttarakhand. Number three, Badrinath. So that's being counted as Faizabad, Chitrakoot, like what's Varanasi region. So, you know, at several levels, this is really, so it's just one thing, but it could be that little grain of rice in a larger bowl, which is telling you how the themes and the ground is.
Yeah, also even all these seats have a very forward cast majority areas.
Yeah. So these were not exactly known to be they were not known to be hostile to the BJP at all. But so soon after the results to lose ground on that is a very significant message, which of course most parts of big media doesn't let you find out because they just don't deliberate enough.
But what's crucial out of this, stemming out of what you're saying, is that the BJP needs immediate introspection because we have crucial elections coming up that the party has not done well in the Lok Sabha elections. Maharashtra is coming up this year, Haryana is coming up this year. In both states, they have not kept up to their 2019 tally. And along with that, Jharkhand also will see elections. Hemant Soren is now back out of jail. So, so these bypolls a signal to the BJP that get your act together by these assembly elections if you want to really drive the message that we are as invincible as they're portraying themselves to be.
I think that's very important because the BJP is not exactly run like the BJP of the olden times, and there would be a parliamentary board meeting, there would be the jostle, the hurly-burly of politicking, negotiation, sharing power, trading, what's happening. So what leaders like Mr. Modi or Mrs. Gandhi did to the Congress is first destroy the organization itself. I think the BJP is dealing, it may again not be visible, but is dealing with a severe problem within. Because what do Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah do? They double down on whatever they've been doing. So they follow a playlist which appears very invincible, and it's what's been happening ever since from Gujarat. There's a whole template which Christoph Jaffalo talks very clearly about in his book on Gujarat under Modi, and you see the replication nationally, which works very well. But it works very well. Eventually, you'll have to go to the people, and so what happens when you have to change things? So I think that dexterity will be tested. The whole business of, is it going to be just a Modi Shah template? Or are you going to listen, to have a feedback? What was the problem for 10 years was, there was no feedback loop. That feedback which is so vital for a plural, multi-identity, big democracy like India is to see feedback, check it, and that informs you, it works for you. But that's not been allowed to happen. So I think this would be, this is a very, I don't even know if they're capable of that kind of feedback, receiving it, introspecting is like a very big word in this kind of a scenario where it's one leader, one election, So I think if the BJP faces a bigger challenge than we realize.
Yeah. But I would add to this, I am equally skeptical about the opposition. They are quite confident after coming on the back of the general elections, the fact that they performed better than they expected. There are a lot of divisions in the opposition camps, both in Maharashtra especially. We have a very strident state Congress president, Nana Patole, who is very outspoken, and in the name of guarding the Congress interests, he could easily rub other people the wrong way, and there have been instances in the past. The Congress and all the constituents really will have to be very careful that nobody is felt hurt and everyone is taken along. Same is true for Haryana, a smaller state where there is a very strong anti-BJP sentiment currently because of various things, unemployment, Agniveer scheme. But here also, the Congress, which is the bigger force facing the BJP, I mean the only force, Aam Aadmi Party is still a very marginal player. There is a great division in the Congress camp. There is Huda versus the rest, and how does that play? We need to see.
where the BJP is trying to kind of reorder itself and keep the focus on the Congress with all this really happening is by keeping the focus on the emergency which took place 50 years ago. And we saw during the special session of Parliament, the BJP made a huge deal about it. Lok Sabha Speaker, who's supposed to be a non-partisan member of Parliament, who's supposed to run the House in a non-partisan manner, he himself gave a speech naming the Congress, not just denouncing the emergency, but he named the Congress as well. And the BJP has, of course, been running various programs on the emergency marking 50 years. And to take it to another level, last week, of course, Home Minister Amit Shah announced that Samvidhaan Hatya Diwas will be celebrated or commemorated would be the correct word, on June 25th every year, to kind of remind the people of the country the trauma that those who fought against the emergency went through. So Shobna, do you see the BJP's emergency campaign really resonating in the coming days, especially with Parliament session starting again? So they will want to keep the focus away from all these issues that are brewing.
You know, I'm nearly tempted to ask you, Sravasti, how old were you when emergency came in? I'm sure you weren't even born, you know. So that's itself is my point here. You mentioned, you said the word, used the word trauma. Now, how many among the Indian electorate really remember that trauma? I mean, this was something imposed in 1975, 19 months, March 1977, the emergency is lifted. Say a person was 18 years old then to have political consciousness. That person is past 60 right now, and the majority of Indian voters do not fall in that bracket and do not remember the trauma of emergency. So I'm not
I think it's a great thing they've done this, because it's a lovely self-goal. It reminds the country that there's such a thing as Samvidhaan ki Hatya. It's possible. And when you start spelling out what they're saying happened, the emergency, which was a horrible thing. It should not have happened, but it was actually invoking an article of the Indian Constitution, somewhat unfairly, just for 22 months. It is then revoked by the same person who's done it, and she calls for elections and releases all opposition leaders. What have we been seeing? We've been seeing this thing going on for 10 years. It is not constitutional. It is not, you're not invoking it on the basis of a constitutional thing, and you arrest all opposition leaders. 2 chief ministers are in jail for the election. So I think it's a very good thing that we have a Samvidhaan Hatya Divas, and now people will remember what it means to be. Constitutional values will be remembered, recalled, and people will, you know, spot the difference. I'll be able to see what the difference is between the two situations.
I
think
I'll
it's like
tell
a great
you one
thing.
difference. I was reading old parliamentary debates, and interestingly, the fact that question hour has to be suspended,
The media was not allowed to report also.
That question, that whether the question hour should be suspended, was voted on. There was a clear division, and even the emergency, there was a division. When farm laws was introduced, the opposition kept asking for a vote on farm laws, and that did not happen.
Yeah. So it will become very clear as to what the Samvidhan is, what it should be, and what the Hatya business is, which we've been seeing in play for a while.
And also the fact that since the BJP has lesser numbers this time, in the previous last 10 years, we have seen they've called for a division by voice vote. So they've just assumed that since we have more numbers, so we have more people, so that's it, doesn't need to be counted. But this time the numbers are far closer, so you will have to count. So it's not going to be so easy, and Samvidhan will have to be listened to, and division of votes will have to be done. So just to shift focus a little bit on another front where the government is facing somewhat of a challenge, is the fact that there's been a disturbing surge in the number of terror attacks in the Jammu region. 5 soldiers were killed in Doda in Jammu just a week after another 5 soldiers were killed in Kathua. So when an attack took place on a military vehicle. So Shobna, you've really seen how the BJP, of course, has crafted its campaign around Article 370, which has contributed to terror attacks going down. And it's really a narrative that they have created, that post-abrogation of Article 370, everything is fine in Jammu and Kashmir. But the opposition has also not been able to really counter it in this scenario where it's a narrative of the BJP's making. There is open space for it to be able to counter it. But apart from a few tweets here and there, they are not really being able to confront the government on this.
That has been the opposition's problem for a while. It's more on social media and not on the streets, enough on the streets. I won't say not on the streets, but not enough on the streets. But BJP, not just abrogation of Article 370. In fact, everything in the last 10 years, their stated goal has been removing terrorism from J&K. We saw when demonetization was announced, the first thing that we were told was, oh, it is a master stroke because the terror funding will be will completely stop now because we have taken out the notes from the market. Then came Article 370 and we were told again that there will be no terrorism. Yes, there was an uneasy silence for a couple of years after it, but of late what we have seen is the theatre of terror has shifted from the valley to Jammu, which the Congress has been highlighting, the opposition also has been highlighting that we need to do something about the fact that this theatre has shifted. And the more eerie thing is there is silence from the government. There is no explanation as to why this shift has happened, what they're doing about it. It's mostly they've left it to the armed forces to field the answer.
And giving condolence messages on Twitter.
Which Mr. Modi doesn't do. He never acknowledges the death. No, I want to, she's very right. See, the whole edifice of the BJP saying something is a success hinges on the security thing, what they call the national security, which is to silence all opposition. How can you kind of contest that when the national security is a tough one? Even courts kind of allow all kinds of people to stay in jail forever if national security is invoked. Now the whole national security question, which BJP is trading as a Kashmir card that is brought security, that is threatened. So Mehbooba Mufti said that, which is true, that 50 army people have been killed in 32 days. And there's more evidence. People will come out. You will see reports in the future that over 3 years, more than 100 paramilitary, security forces beyond the army have been, it's an area of so much insecurity. And if you're going to see domestic kind of militancy, which is, so there's an effort to say that it's only from Pakistan, but we're going to see again the rise of militancy, which India, the Indian state, through very sophisticated operations over the years, has tried to put to bed, wrestling with complex policies. Having this sledgehammer kind of approach of 370, alienating the people of Jammu and Kashmir, is not going to be something they're going to wish away. And we've seen a lot of this in a lot of supporters of the right wing when the Gaza thing was going on, to create parallels. We've always fought that and said, no, there are no parallels between Kashmir and Palestine. Please don't equate it, is what the Indian government has said. But everybody's going out and trying to draw those parallels. So I think that's like a very dangerous thing. And the security that you raised puts their whole Kashmir campaign on the big back foot. This whole thing that films are being shot there, everything's secure. I mean, so much so that the BJP could not even contest any seat in Kashmir. They decided not to. So that's a confession, right? Or what's going on. Given that as an electoral thing and what's happening in the security thing, even if you're unable to stop Pakistan or if you have domestic terror, that does not speak well of their Kashmir policy and the way the national security establishment has handled that.
But the larger question that can be asked in this scenario is, of course, that with such a spike in terror activities and attacks, the stage, in a sense, is set for the government to perhaps say that elections cannot be held in Jammu and Kashmir, something that they have been promising for a while. And even during when the 2024 Lok Sabha elections were announced, the Election Commission said that we will be doing it very soon. We've discussed it. But now with all this happening, do you see that elections as not a real possibility anymore?
The tenure of soon has really elongated beyond permissible levels of acceptance. But yes, as Seema just pointed out, what was the most bizarre story of 2024 elections was the fact that BJP, after drum beating and after all fanfare,
cutting the internet for years, and you're doing everything possible,
all the fanfare, and they had candidates. They said that, oh, we're going to win this seat, we're going to win that seat,
the King's Party, God knows what,
and then we see nothing. They just withdraw from the game at the last minute. I mean, we shouldn't forget. I'm forgetting which was the Lok Sabha seat that they actually rescheduled the elections.
Yeah, that was it was not Udhampur. It was was that seat, Sravasti? Okay, we'll come back.
We'll come back to that. But they in fact rescheduled it, and when they rescheduled it, also we believed that maybe it is because the BJP wants to contest. Now that itself should give us a clue on what possibly is we should expect from the assembly elections, if at all they are ever held. The question is when. There are no indications as of now. Election Commission has been saying they're preparing the electoral rolls for a very long time. The Home Ministry is saying we are ready. They're blaming, it's a game of football going on with both of them passing the ball to each other. So we don't know.
So what really comes across is that the people of Jammu and Kashmir are not being trusted to choose their own
So,
representatives.
no, and also it's more than 10 years since they've had an assembly election. The last elections which voted out Omar were in October 2014. So it's like more than 10 years since a vote has been called. So I think that's like very serious, and there's reason to believe that if there is a lack of being heard, which also constitutes trouble, which also leads to militancy, is not having elections, not even having those people allowed to vote. And we saw that in the high rise of the vote percentages this time in Kashmir, that there is an urge and a desire to vote and at least pick your own government, because anyway Article 370 happened without there being an assembly in place. So yeah, I think that's like, it's like a really bad kind of a blot, and it speaks volumes for the mother of democracy to not be able to have elections in Kashmir. It's more complicated for the BJP because it's locked in with their failed diplomacy in the region as well. It's locked in with Pakistan, with China, with Ladakh, because the botch up is not just of Jammu and Kashmir, it's also of Ladakh. How you've alienated even the Buddhist minority there, and you've got a big slap in, again, what the elections showed, and in protests every day. So people who were supporting the abrogation of reading down of 370 have also come out against you. So I think because it's also tied up with their very complicated and very tenuous situation with China on the eastern border and with Pakistan on the western border, I think it's like a huge burden on India, the way the BJP is behaving, and it also mirrors what's happening in Manipur. So I think the whole border states, this whole business of we are the National Security Party who will give you secure borders, etc., is not a tenable situation for the BJP at all.
And finally, before we wrap up, we'll just quickly take you through developments in the United States, where elections are due as well. And former President Donald Trump has survived an assassination bid, and the incident is believed to have given a fillip to his chances to make it back to the White House, if reports are to be reports and observers are to be believed. Seema, Biden has just announced yesterday that he's gotten COVID, and many observers are saying that it's a way of taking him out.
Political COVID.
Political COVID. We're taking him out of the scene. Of course, he's faced a lot of criticism because of his age. People are saying that he's senile, he's not the right candidate, but they've announced him with such pomp and all of that, and he's also refusing to back out. So this kind of gives the Democrats an easy way out, is a theory that's being circulated. So how do you see all this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite spectacular to watch, the father of democracy, as it were, disintegrate into this kind of situation. But I think it's also very interesting because it's very eventful. And so while I agree that, this assassination bid, which should never have happened, has kind of given Trump an edge, but I think he's frankly lost the edge in his very long speech, because it was meant to be a unity speech, because Trump is really not being himself. He's being this very, very calm, this kind of, figure who's really the victim. So it was seen as if the Republicans are really on the front foot. But I think now he came out and called crazy Nancy Pelosi. He was referring to Biden took hit jobs. So people just need to see more of Trump for the pressure on Biden to ease up. Biden is actually seen like a gaffe-prone pensioner, grand uncle type person. But from what I believe, I may be wrong, is that there may be events of the weekend where he may be like asked to step down after the Republican convention is over, because he could not have done that immediately just after NATO and this convention. So maybe we have news which is different. But yeah, I mean, just utterly enchanting to watch American developments, J.D. Vance and to ripped shirts and other drama.
So Democrats, in a sense, possibly being forced to course correct before the election really gets in its thick of things. But Shobna, I want to come to you on something very interesting that's happened in India on all of this. The BJP has interpreted this whole incident and asked opposition parties to stop using words like hinsa and violence and all of these which have been used by Congress leaders like Rahul Gandhi and other opposition leaders, and they have said that these words could incite violence against Prime Minister Modi. Now, yesterday in a press conference, also the BJP said that such words can be harmful. They have cited the assassination bid on Trump. They've cited the assassination of Shinzo Abe in 2022. So, a very interesting twist, Indian twist being given to this. How do you see this?
It is very amusing because I don't know, for some reason I've been reading old parliamentary debates, and there are so many parallels. When emergency, again I'm reading the emergency debates, and when emergency was imposed, the Congress statement, minister's statement, Brahmanand Reddy, yes, the Home Minister, his statement were exactly identical to what the BJP is saying right now. Back then he had said that look at what George Fernandez is saying, look at what JP is saying. They are threatening violence against the Congress leadership, and therefore the foreign hand, and therefore desh khatre mein hai, and that is why we brought in emergency. Pretty identical to what, say, Sudhanshu Trivedi's press conference yesterday, where he said that, very, very violent terms are being used for our leadership, and where are we heading? I don't know, but it's a smart play from the BJP, I would say, to draw a parallel with the US elections.
I mean, that it is smart, no doubt, and to be expected by them, but a lot of the kind of garbage, hate pushed out, the mobs allowed to run lumpens on the streets. It's actually the BJP and the government in power which has ceded the monopoly of violence to mobs, that you have this kind of situation today. Also, India has seen the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi. We know who killed him. We know who got banned after that. We've seen the assassination of a sitting Prime Minister. Indira Gandhi was assassinated while in office, as was Rajiv Gandhi when he was not in office, but a former Prime Minister. So I think, for the BJP to take that lightly, and I saw their IT cell chief say that that happened for political reasons, I think is really damning, and the BJP needs to be put on the spot for that, because all assassination, and the assassin had no business to target Trump, so there is just no question of condoning that. But I think BJP, because it kind of sees itself as this global, the Vishwaguru business, so it's always trying to insert itself into the conversation. So how to push Mr. Modi into all kind of conversations,
also, there's
events.
always a parallel between Modi and Trump. Both
Yeah,
try
correct.
to,
and this whole far-right caucus, of which, whether it's Meloni, whether it is this. So I think we see that periodically about trying to insert themselves, but in this they come out like really poorly, as Shobna said.
All right, so we'll keep our eyes on all these developments in the US and of course here in India. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to Seema and Shobna for joining us. And I'll see you next week.